वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Before we go to the next verse, Rajan had to say something.
Yeah, so somebody she referred to the point of a clone being as something that scientists have developed. I was telling her that with all that science has advanced and people attempt to do, they have not been able to create a single cell on their own. So from that perspective, the creation of the original standpoint is not interferable by any human in that sense of the word. Every point of creation establishes itself that whatever you are still doing, you are only copying or integrating or assembling, but you are really not creating what has been created by the Creator. There's somewhere that ahankara or ego takes over to believe that you are becoming close to it.
Surya also very good, excellent. Yeah, so it's exactly. So as he says that we are only, so there is a traditional, the traditional Vedanta, and it says karma, the actions, can make you do 4 things. Yeah? One is you can modify something, you can gain, if something is there, you can gain it by going there, reach it, and you can purify it, but you can't really create anything. So that means all the even what we call creation is reassemblage in a different configuration. So that's all. So that exactly. So that very good. Yeah. Surya, you had something to say.
Oh yeah. To come back to the methodology that Neema was speaking about, in the case of this Ishvara, if we say that Ishvara is all that is here, okay, even if we say it's manifesting in the form of all what is here, then one question then comes. So, has Ishvara transformed itself into all what is here? And therefore, it is also, Ishvara is having the lot of pankaj of everybody here, is suffering, is like having some highs and is joyful and so on. And maybe there is no more the original Ishvara because it has transformed entirely into all these forms which are here. See, this question is also a big question. So you have to address this question. And this is one way of addressing the question is to speak about what Neema said, is that this Ishvara essentially, even though he is all the forms and he has manifested into all these forms, essentially he has just as though become all the forms. Like just this upahita, this glass, crystal glass, transparent glass, as though has acquired some new qualities and some things which are changing from yellow to green and so on. And what the verse is speaking about, as though Ishvara has transformed itself into the jiva, who is enjoying all these things, who is experiencing all these things, and also the objects which are experienced. But in reality, he has not taken all this attribute of being the one who is the enjoyer, none of the attribute also of the object he is experiencing or enjoying. You see that or not? You see how this example is like really addressing this doubt. It's a big doubt. Because otherwise you go into what philosophy, Western philosophy is speaking about pantheism. We are not speaking about pantheism here. That there is one thing which keeps on changing itself, and that's all. We are saying, yes, the forms are changing, no doubt. And this is why we are saying Ishvara is parinami upadana karana. it keeps on transforming. At the level of forms and so on, there is always constant change. But essentially, there is no change.
So it's the same thing like we have spoken about. Take the ring here, and gold appears as many forms. It's Satya and Vidya relationships. That's
Yes.
all.
We can also look at a simple example like water. If we take H2O as the base intelligence, convert to steam or convert to ice,
Yes.
the property, the feel, everything changes, but the basic H2O still remains everywhere. It is not visible. The form keeps changing. So to attribute the form change to the change of the actual attribute is a mistake.
Exactly.
Yes.
Very good.
Can I have a small question?
Yeah.
You may not. If everything is governed by the laws and Ishvara is akarta and impartial, then who's listening to our prayers?
So that means exactly as I said, that Ishvara, that's why I said it's not mechanical laws. There is an intelligence which is manifesting as all these laws. So now what we are doing is when the prayer is always to that intelligence. Prayer is not to, and you're using that intelligence which is manifesting as so many different laws. You are asking for that intelligence help to help you with reference to what law of karma.
So it means intelligence is listening when we are praying.
So
And
that
somehow
means,
it's reaching.
see, it's not that intelligence has the action of listening. Every time an action is produced, there is what? Effect. So that means it is part of that intelligent design.
So can we say there must be some laws which also must be giving an effect when we give prayers?
So we are here working at the level of cause and effect law with reference to your actions and result. Because generally when we pray, we either pray for our well-being or well-being of somebody else and well-being of the whole world. So everything is arranged according to what? Their cause and effect. So now what we are trying to do is add one more variable, and by adding one more variable we are shifting the balance, trying to shift the balance to our favor.
So that means law of karma applies when we pray. Can we say that a little?
So that means most of our prayers are at the level of karma and karma phala. Most of them. So now the next verse here, it says Natva devam sarva pasha upahani shinaihi vale shaje janma mrityu prahani tasya abhidharnya tritiyam deha bhede vishwa aishwarya kevala aptakamaha. Okay, so that means
The verse which is the last verse on the page 1.
In mine it is last verse on page.
Yeah, because you have your notes.
Oh, yeah, yes.
It is,
sorry.
say it again, please.
The verse which is on page 1, the last one.
By knowing.
Yeah, by knowing the
Oh, okay. Okay, so now if we come to this point, which is that there is this intelligence which is manifesting in every form and in form of the laws and also time and space, then, and if you retain your I as this one little individual, what does your relationship remain with Ishvara? You are one of the many manifestations of Ishvara, right? So this is not what the final vision of Vedanta is. So what Vedanta points out is that even this Ishvara as an entity itself also has one more reality. So therefore that intelligence itself requires something based on which that intelligence can exist. So this is what Satish was saying, that last time we saw that there is one thing more fundamental than intelligence, and that is, in Sanskrit you call it chit. Chit is, either you can use the word consciousness or you can use the word awareness. So you can use in both ways, yeah, because the Sanskrit word is chit. So the consciousness, so now imagine any intelligence, so now you take your own intelligence. Your intelligence is what? Your capacity to think, your capacity to infer, your capacity to understand things. All this is what we call is part of your intelligence. Now that intelligence, you see its relationship. See, your intelligence can be divided into many different thoughts. When those thoughts are in keeping with what is you call a person intelligent, because that mind and its thoughts are able to capture the realities without distorting them. That is what is intelligence. The mind is able to capture the sound harmonies which others are not able to capture. That person has what? The musical intelligence. Understand the sound harmony and use it in composition. The artist has the capacity to what? That whole aesthetic, the laws of Ishvara in form of aesthetics, the person is very sensitive to, and it can recreate aesthetics. So that means all these are different intelligence. We only think that cognitive intelligence is, these are all different intelligence. A musician exhibits intelligence. It is able to capture some the sound harmony. The other one is able to capture what? The aesthetics. The other one is able to capture what? The logic. And this is how the mind, which is intelligent, is able to capture certain things which are already there as a possibility in Ishvara. It's always there. But whether you are able to catch it or not, that is what makes you intelligent. And different types of intelligence. So therefore, so that means your thoughts are in keeping with what is. If you look at the cognitive intelligence, your thoughts are in keeping with what is. So now, during the break, Yuta told me that there is a movie called Matrix. And what is it, Yuta? Can you explain?
How to explain? Who knows the movie Matrix?
I see the book.
There's a target. No, Yuta, you explain. You were explaining well. Try.
It's a movie where the main artist, the hero, got the possibility to take the red or the blue pill. If you want to see reality, you take the blue. If you want to stay in the movie, you take the red. And he chose the blue, and then it was not nice. No, it was not nice. It was very ugly, and then a war comes and they fight and the whole story. But this was, I guess it was out of the idea of Vedanta, that to see reality, that there is another view on reality. The main idea, I guess.
And you have the free will to decide if you want to stay or if you want to align to yoga of objectivity or how to go.
That's a nice idea. So that means that there is a reality which is already there. It doesn't depend upon what you see or what you don't see. Right? Now, when we transact with the universe, sometimes we are in touch with the reality. But a lot of times we are not in touch with reality. Our own story goes on. And our own story is based on some partial data which is provided by our senses and inference, which doesn't give us the whole picture. And because it doesn't give us the whole picture, as I told you, and as Surya is saying, you open your eyes and you see many forms, and you are connected with one form. the immediate conclusion is what? The world is what? Consisting of many different forms. I am separate from everything else and I have to transact with the universe in order to get my happiness. This is the data that your senses have provided. And because it is and that data itself is not corresponding to reality. Now all our transactions are based on that faulty data. So we make a mess. So therefore now, and with keeping that reality as it is, we keep on trying to fix. And we never fix anything. So this is why it is now putting you in touch with reality makes you have to shift to reality. But it's so difficult to shift to reality because this, our created reality, has become so complex and we have used logic within logic within logic to create miseries for us. And when somebody shows us, our minds are not available to see the reality. So therefore, one needs to do whole of Vedanta is so much of undoing of our realities. And sometimes, as Yuta came to me after the class and she says, you really hit the nail on the point. She says, it's not like we don't understand during the class the logics that you give. Even if we understand the logics, we are unable to shift to a new vision. You continue to operate from your own set vision and you try to plug in little bit here and there. That will, and it will never work. So that means you have to, it's almost like a deconstruction. Deconstruction of your reality and seeing a new vision which is completely coherent, which is completely faultless, which is making you see realities in a completely different light. And the whole logic is built step by step by step by step. It's not like, yeah, some final thing that I want to see. This final thing that you expect will somehow come. It's a major drawback. I mean, it will sideline you. So that means the foundation itself, the whole thing has to be questioned, and foundation and step after step after step, the whole vision of reality has to change. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think on top of all is if I see reality, I don't like it sometimes. I don't want to see all that this is also Ishvara, all the cruelty and all the bad things in the world, the ugly, the misuse and abuse and all these things. I don't want to accept that this is also.
Yeah. See, this is where I think what Surya says, it makes, that is, because otherwise if you say all that is here is intelligence, and every form is also manifestation of that intelligence, right? Then you say that now if that means a criminal is also Ishvara, you will ask this question. A murderer is also Ishvara. So that means yes, the answer is yes.
Absolutely.
The answer is yes, but then you can say, so therefore Ishvara is criminal? No. So that means, this is where what Karl is saying, it is Satya-Mithya relationship. You have to understand. All this, if you don't understand, you don't understand. The thing is, exactly as he says, while the table is nothing but the wood, wood is what? Free from being the table. That is the crux of Vedanta. The table does have a size, the table does have a dimension, height, width, length, it has all of that. And the table cannot exist without the wood. Wood being part of entire table. There is no part of the table which is not pervaded by the wood. But pervading the table, it is free from what? The dimensions of the table. That is the truth. Why is it the truth? Because right now, somebody can dismantle this table and make something totally different out of this wood. That's why. This is, so in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Tasya kartaham apimam akarta vidhi avyayam. On one hand, you can say Ishvara as all these different forms is what constantly doing, but at the same time it is not doing. The intelligence is not doing anything. Intelligence creates a platform within which all the actions take place. So that means your mind has to reach those realities. They are facts and they are demonstrated, but unfortunately our minds are not able to reach if they are not refined. This is why so much purification has to be done. Because the mind, to be able to reach the truth, has to be a highly cultivated mind. Otherwise it's not possible. The thought processes don't match what Upanishads want to teach you. So slowly, slowly, slowly one has to work and then pave the way. And all of us are like that. There is no exception. Everybody has to do that work. So therefore, this is what he says, that it itself is akarta. Otherwise, Ishvara will become criminal, Ishvara will become murderer, Ishvara will become the
and
murderer,
sufferer also.
Sufferer, exactly. This we know. Okay. So now, the next level that we are seeing is, see, you're not only one manifestation of this vast entity called Ishvara. So in that changing reality, so what I was saying is, your intelligence is what your thoughts and their capacities to what capture the reality is what makes you intelligent. But the thought itself, so that means everybody has thoughts. If your thoughts are in keeping with what is, you are called intelligent. If your thoughts are creating realities which are not in keeping with the truth, you are considered not so intelligent. Right? Now the thought itself, where does it come from? The thought comes and goes. There is one more unchanging reality from which the thought comes. And what is that?
Mind. Thought comes from mind.
Yeah, but mind itself is defined as series of thoughts. So that means before a thought comes, are you there or not? Yes. While the thought is there, are you there or not? Yes. Once the thought goes, are you there or not? Yes. So that means the mistake that we make is what I take myself to be a thought, where actually what am I? I'm the in my presence, the coming and going of the thoughts is known. So that means if you're not one thought, again the same logic, you're also not what 100,000 thoughts.
You are witness to the thoughts.
Exactly. So that particular thing we have lost, that knowledge we have lost, that is ignorance. So now, what enables you to see the presence of the thought? There is one thing. If it was not there, you will not come to know the presence of the thought. And what is that?
Awareness.
Awareness, exactly. So this is what in Sanskrit we call it chit. We call it consciousness. So that means the consciousness, please understand, is something which precedes the thought. While the thought is going on, is consciousness there or not? Consciousness is there because of which you come to know the presence of that given thought. Now, and when the thought goes, is the consciousness there or not? Because if the consciousness was not there, you would not be able to know that what this thought has gone. So that means there is one thing which is more fundamental than thought, and that is what? Awareness. Now, so please understand, what is the relationship between awareness and a thought? Are they two totally independent things? No. If you look at the thought as a thought, let's say if I'm thinking of a tree thought, then what does the tree thought have? Tell me, what is the content of the tree thought?
Tree.
Awareness
Okay, that.
plus the form tree. So that means the relationship between thought and awareness is what? While awareness exists independently of the thought is mithya, it cannot exist without awareness. So there are no two different things. This is why if you are trying to separate your awareness from the thought, you are on a trip. You will never be able to do it. See, awareness is always there, but don't think that the thought is something which is other than awareness. Everything is awareness, but awareness is not any one of them. Upadhi, upahita.
Again, awareness is akarta.
So awareness is also akarta. Absolutely. So therefore, this awareness is something which is there, which is more fundamental than the thoughts. Whereas the thoughts cannot exist without awareness, awareness is independent of the thoughts. Now, this is with reference to my little intelligence. So my intelligence is a result of the quality of my thoughts, and those thoughts themselves are depending upon awareness. Now you extrapolate and you say, if there is all knowledge, that all knowledge, does it require the basis or not? It requires the basis. The all knowledge also requires what is a precondition for all knowledge? Awareness. Just as little intelligence cannot exist without awareness, the all intelligence also cannot exist without what? Awareness. So that means what even more fundamental than the intelligence is what? Awareness. So therefore, if you really look at the universe, this is what in fact through Upanishad, Ishvara is talking, really, Ishvara is talking to you, revealing its own nature, removing your ignorance. And it is saying, hey, when you see many, actually I am the only one, which is what? The all intelligence, which is arranged in one form and every other form. Now, there is one more truth about me, which is what? Awareness. So that means that there is one thing which is what? Ishvara is a parinami upadana karana. It is work in progress. It's constantly unfolding itself. The minute you collapse one possibility, the world has to change. There has to be a corresponding change in the world. In the forms, there has to be a difference. So that means it's constantly reorganizing the universe. And the thing is, in the world, there is not one doer, there are multiple doers. So simultaneously, so many people have performed one action, and each one, as a result of their action, has made some change in the universe. So that means even at a minute level, the world has to change to reflect what? The actions of each one of us. Constantly. Constantly it is changing, because constantly we are participating. So this is why that intelligence is constantly recreating the universe. Every action on our part brings about that minute little change in the universe. So that is a changing thing, but there is one aspect which is what we call Vivarta Upadana Karana. Ishvara says, in that changing intelligence which is constantly reorganizing universe, there is one completely non-changing reality, and that is awareness. That is Chit. So that means wherever the end, see, now this world which we thought was all different, we saw, first we said it's all Ishvara, intelligence, then we say Ishvara as an entity has a truth which is what? awareness. So that means wherever you find Ishvara, you also find what? The truth. Excellent. The truth of Ishvara, which is awareness. So therefore, now look at the world. There is in this form, there is what? There is my body and my mind, which is manifestation of what? Ishvara. Now Ishvara is there, and the truth of Ishvara, which is awareness, is also has to be there. Can't not be there, because that is truth of Ishvara. Every form is pervaded by Ishvara. So that means in every form you have to find two things. What? The intelligence and the awareness. Both you have to find. So now let's say in my case, where is, I understand that there is a what? Intelligence which is organized what? Many billions of cells to make this body what it is. Where do I understand the presence of awareness? Just by what? The method that I showed you. This method makes you see the presence of awareness, which is right here and right now. It's not, otherwise it will become a belief. When I make you see between your thoughts, before your thought, what is there is this awareness. While your thought is taking place, there is awareness. After the thought is gone, there is awareness. This awareness that I am showing you is nothing personal to the body and mind. It is what? All pervading. Why? Because Ishvara, which makes your form, is not confined to your form. It is all pervading. And the awareness that you see is the truth of Ishvara, and therefore it is what? All pervading. This is your access. The access to intelligence, awareness, the presence of awareness, there is only one place where awareness is made available to you. The understanding of intelligence I can make you understand. But the presence of awareness, please understand, is the only access that you have to the presence of this awareness is where? In your buddhi.
Self-evident.
It is self-evident. The awareness is self-evident to you. Because if it was not an object, you will you can't use your eyes to know it. You can't use your ears to know it. If it was not self-evident, you will never know it. In this whole universe, everything is evident to the self. Only one thing is self-evident, and that is I. And what is the nature of I? The Upanishads reveal it to be what? This awareness. Now this awareness, it would be a very frivolous awareness, but because this awareness is truth of Ishvara, it is what?
The same awareness.
It is always there. Because how long is Ishvara there? Before the creation, Ishvara is there or not? Yes, because the universe comes from Ishvara. So that means before time, before space, before objects, there is a presence of Ishvara, the intelligence, from which the entire manifestation comes. This awareness happens to be the truth of Ishvara. So wherever there is Ishvara, there is what? Awareness.
So the most fundamental is
The
awareness.
most fundamental is
Awareness.
Chit. This Chit is Sat. What is Sat? Sat means it is something which is existing, but it is not in existence within time and space. It is something from which time and space have come. It is not the awareness. Generally, we think that the awareness is something where we equate it to the me, the doer, me, the enjoyer. Not talking about that awareness. That would become very small. We are talking about the awareness, the intelligence in which, as though we saw in the previous verse, the enjoyer is there and also the objects of enjoyment are there, and the interactions between the enjoyer and the objects of knowledge is taking place. That is the awareness. Generally we think it's only this, it's not only this. So that means it is bhokta, is the truth of bhokta, bhogya, and the entire process of enjoying.
Bhoga.
All three bhoga, all three take place in this awareness. Awareness is a platform and one character. Now look at this. With reference to you, I feel I am a bhokta, enjoyer, and you are, if I really like you and if I like you as a person, you are really an object of my enjoyment in some ways. Now for you, if you like me, you are the enjoyer and I am what? The object of enjoyment. So that means if from my standpoint I am the enjoyer and you are the object of enjoyment, from your standpoint you are the enjoyer and I am the object of enjoyment. So that means that both roles are relative. Nothing is absolute. It's just shifting a position that the same bhokta can become what? Bhogya. Exactly. So that means the whole setup, there is no real bhokta which is only one. All of us, you think you are a bhokta and I am the bhogya. I think I am the bhokta and you are the bhogya. And the whole thing is like a big show. You shift a perspective and the whole role changes. So that means for you, the true nature of awareness is what? It is free from being a bhokta, it is not a bhogya, it is not a bhoga, it is free from all three. It is a platform on which all three as though come, all three as though interact, all three as though gain their experiences and have what? Through the mind go through changing emotions. So the morning class meditation that Surya said is almost like what? The dream. The dream world where the time, dream space, dream characters, the entire thing is a setup. You can be sleeping in Rishikesh and you can be dreaming you are in Paris and you have built what? Those nicely beautiful buildings. You built like that. The sun, the moon, yeah, it's evening in Paris and oh, it's nice, and it's summer. Now it's winter but you dreamt it's summer. All that you just created like that. And then sitting in a cafe, you are having a great conversation with a friend and you are really enjoying yourself. And then you dream that, okay, the waiter was rude, so you got irritated. All that is happening. An entire show, and what do you think, who you think in this whole dream world, who do you identify with? Only one character who's as though interacting with everybody else and gaining experiences. And in reality, who are you?
Sleeping.
You are the dream time, you are the dream space, you are the dream building, you are the dream characters, you are also this person who's as though enjoying the coffee and having a conversation with the waiter. So that means the reality is the entire universe is, the dream world is from you, but while in the dream, how do you act? As though you are one character and it is interacting with the world and gaining experiences. in reality it is exactly the same. We somehow identify our I with this body and mind and act in the world as though we are one entity and everything is other than us. In reality, this body and this mind and every other body and every other mind is manifestation of Ishvara. It is manifestation of that intelligence. How do you demonstrate that it is manifestation of that intelligence? So as we saw last time, that this body, if you just begin to look at the body, you don't need to do anything. The body that you think you are is actually it's a magic. You say you are the body, then I said, okay, Anam, you are the body. Then I said, okay, what is the body? Is hand the body? Is legs the body? Is hair the body? So let's start removing everything which is not body. You take out the hands, you take out what? The legs, you take out the hair, you take out the head, you take out what? What if I take out everything which is a non-body, what will remain as the body? Nothing. Nothing will remain. So that means this is all reality. Please understand, there is nothing, no wordplay. This is how it is. There is no contention. It's not like because Vedanta is saying I'm believing or not believing. It doesn't give room for belief or no belief. It's logic. So therefore, that means what I understand is body is a name for what? Different parts which are assembled. Different parts which are non-body, when they get assembled, you give it a name, an arbitrary name called body. Then you said, okay, so body is just a name, the parts are very real. Okay, the parts are wonderful. So let me look into one part, hands. So if I can ask the same question, is the bone hands? No, so let's take it out. Is the muscle hand? No, let's take it out. Is the blood hand? No, let's take it out. Is water hand? No, let's take it out. Is the skin hand? No, let's take it out. Is the nail hand? No, let's take it out. Now, show me where the hand is. First, there was no body. Now, there is no hand. Then, you said, oh, then hand is also a name of all these different parts put together. Then, you start looking at each part in turn. Where will you come to? The parts which are non-body make a body. The parts which are non-hand make a hand. So that means what? Everything is the name, everything is a result of an assemblage of different things in different permutations and combinations. When they assemble at a given point, they are given what? A given name. Then they in return assemble again and they are given what? Another name. Then they assemble again and they are given another name. The whole universe is an assemblage. Assemblage of what? Ultimately, atoms and particles. Exactly. The whole universe is not something whether, oh, I don't believe. Oh, what you don't believe? This is how things are. You are free to believe or not believe. It's not a matter of belief.
It's a reality.
It's a reality. So therefore, the whole universe is an assemblage. Who's assembling it? Who is assembling it in a way that from a in fact, if you know little bit of physics, after atoms and the particles and quarks and all. There is no something that you tangible object that you see.
Energy.
It's only energy.
Absolutely. There's nothing tangible about it. So that means from something which is non-tangible, and as the tangible entity comes, that is a work of intelligence. And then that tangible entity gets assembled with another tangible entity which comes from non-tangible entity, and it creates yet another form. And they come together and create yet another form. And then yet another. And this is how the galaxies are made. This is how the stars are made. This is how the planets are made. This is how the human species and every other 84,000, species that are there on this earth, they all come as a result of assemblage. So that means this whole universe is work of this intelligence. And wherever there is intelligence, there is truth of that intelligence, which is what? Awareness. So this is why when I look at my assemblage, I find my mind, I find my body,